Hi, students. So I have your unit organizer in front of you. If you don't have it in front of you, you'll want to grab it from the files. It's also on Portal, so you can find it there. But I wanted to fill this in with you so you guys had a chance, if this is something that you guys like to use, to make sure that you know the important information. So our current unit, is specific properties of water. Our last unit was acids and bases. And our next unit is going to be biogeochemical cycles, also sometimes known as the carbon cycle. Now, up here in the bigger picture, I put the properties of matter because we're talking about specific properties of water. Acids and bases had to do with the properties of matter, and then biogeochemical cycles will be how that matter and those properties cause it to move through ecosystems. Specific properties of water is about Earth's suitability as an environment for life, right? That's what we've been talking about. How do all of these properties allow life on Earth to exist as it does? And we found that some of those properties were density, cohesion, high heat capacity, and a universal solvent. So those are the ones that we're going to explore a little more. Down here in our unit relationships, we need to be able to discuss them. That's what you've been doing on Flipgrid. We need to cite evidence of why these create a suitable environment for life, which is also what you've been doing on Flipgrid and what you've been doing in some of your check-in questions. And then summarize what it's all about, right? There's your summary for your Cornell notes. So here's some of the things that we did in this unit. And you guys already have a list on your assignments tab, but if you like to keep it here, you can write in and track your assignments as they go along. Okay. On the back side, we have our unit, Specific Properties of Water, is about Earth's suitability as an environment for life. Now remember, you can read each of these strings as a sentence once you're done to help you study. Specific Properties of Water is about Earth's suitability as an environment for life because of density. And what was the special thing about the density of water? It was lower when it was a solid, which is the opposite of most substances. Usually they get more dense as they cool and become a solid. But water has the opposite effect, and that means ice floats on top of the pond, and it can insulate the rest of the pond. So now we'll look at the second strand, Earth's suitability as an environment for life because of cohesion, which causes surface tension. And cohesion is because of the hydrogen bonding. So those hydrogens bond with the oxygen, and they also bond with other hydrogens. And it affects life on Earth because it allows bugs to walk on water. It also allows for water droplets to form. It allows for plants' roots, the capillary action in plants' roots, to drag water up from the roots through the stem to the leaves. The same in our capillary blood vessels. Our blood is able to flow through those without really too much force, although our heart is forcing the blood through them all the time anyway. So our next strand, Earth's suitability as an environment for life because of high heat capacity. Now, high heat capacity, what does that mean? It means water requires a lot of heat or a lot of energy to change temperature. It's not just going to go from being really cold to really hot. It's going to change slowly, and it's going to require a lot of input to make that change. And it affects life on Earth by allowing animals to regulate their body temperatures. It also affects us specifically in Florida because we live on a peninsula and we have so much water next to us. It regulates our temperatures so that we don't ever go too high or too low. So it keeps us a little more even than other places at the same latitude, like in the center of Texas, where you would have extremely hot temperatures and also some pretty cold temperatures. Let's look at our last strand, Earth's suitability as an environment for life because it is a universal solvent. And that's because it's a polar molecule, so it can dissolve lots of different things. It's going to dissolve the nutrients we need and bring them to our cells. And it's also going to dissolve the waste products from the cells and carry them out of our bodies. So that allows us to maintain homeostasis. Now, box number 10 is the new unit self-test questions. So that's a good place to review some of those questions you asked yourself in your Cornell notes. It's also a good place to think of some similar questions to maybe some of your check-in questions or some of the Edpuzzle questions, and write some questions that might be on a test about these topics. That's all for now.